Alright, so I'm going to show you how to hook up your Android project to BitBucket so that you can save your files on a remote repository and manage them using Git. You can probably use GitHub as well. It'll probably work, but BitBucket gives you unlimited private repositories. Okay, so the first thing you'll need is Android Studio, and I have the Eclipse version open here, as you can see. You're also going to need a BitBucket account. So here's my BitBucket account that I'm signed into. I guess you can use GitHub as well. But I'm going to show you how this works on BitBucket. And you also need some sort of a shell. You can use Git Bash or Cygwin on Windows. If you're running Linux, you can just open up a terminal. But anything just to enter Linux commands. Okay, so the first thing is we're going to open up Android Studio, and we're going to create our new project. So I'm going to go to File, New, and select Project. Then Android Application Project. Click Next. My application name, I'm going to call it Ant-Man. It's going to be a game. So I'll call it Ant-Man. Next. Doesn't matter. Next. Let it do all the default stuff. And finish. Perfect. So our project's been created right over here, as you can see, and Android's put in a bunch of files for me. So right now I can see all of these files, but it's only local. I want to be able to save all my files and images and everything remotely onto the BitBucket server, like to back it up and to manage my commits and things like that. So I'm going to open up BitBucket here, my account that I showed you earlier. And here I'm going to create a new project. We're going to call it Ant-Man as well. It's a private repository. And it's going to be an Android project. And we're going to say create. Okay, great. Back in Android Studio, you have to have eGit installed. I think it usually comes with Android Studio, but I can put links in the description for everything. Okay, so we right click on the project and we click Team, Share Project. And we say Create Repository. Done. And as you can see, all of the question marks just appeared right over here. Okay, great. So now we're going to open up our Git Bash, and I'm going to cd into the new project I created. So as you can see, it says master here, which means Git knows about it. So you'll see there's some files here, but I can also enter some Git commands, and I can see that there's some untracked files that Android has added, and I want to take these files and push them to the remote server. So in order to do that, I need to tell Git about my remote server. So if I do git remote -v, I see that there's nothing there. There's no remote repository that Git knows about. So I need to go fetch my remote repository and add it to this project to tell Git where my BitBucket account is. Okay, so back in my BitBucket account, I've just created my new repository, and I can say I'm starting my project from scratch. And as you can see right here, BitBucket gives me a command for adding the remote repository to Git. So I can copy that command, go back to my shell, and enter that command here. So it's going to add this URI as my remote repository. And now when I run git remote -v, you can see that it's been added over here. So if I do git status, those are my files, and I do git add. So as you can see, I've added all of the files, get them ready for committing them. I can do git commit -m initial commit, Alright, so there's my initial commit. And now if I do git push origin master, okay, it asked me for my passphrase. So you have to have set up your key, your RSA key with BitBucket. So I've already set mine up. In order to do that, go to BitBucket and click on Manage My Account. Then click on SSH Keys, and this is where you add your key. In order to create the key, you have to enter a git command. Okay, so let me just log in here, and I'll show you the command. So this is the command you would use to generate your own key, and then you copy the public file to the BitBucket list of keys. Anyway, I've already done that. So now my files have been pushed using the command right over here to the remote server. So now back in BitBucket, if I go back to the repository, so this is the repository, and you can see there's been one commit over here. I can go to the source code, and there are all the files. So now I can make changes in the IDE over here and commit them using Git, and they'll appear on BitBucket.